Hello, good morning, and welcome to AMP, where academia meets practice. I want to thank you for joining me today. My name is Lisa Hammond, and I am a research practitioner. That means I focus my findings on how to apply my research to business practices. Today, I'm going to share my research on the consequences of complacency, where we'll explore how three iconic companies, Sears, Blockbuster, and Polaroid, failed to adapt to change and the lessons we can learn from their stories. In today's dynamic and fast-paced world, technological advancements and shifting consumer behaviors can transform industries almost overnight. Companies that fail to adapt risk losing their relevance and competitive edge. As Ismail stated, in 2023, industry leaders can become laggards almost overnight. Today, we'll analyze how Sears, Blockbuster, and Polaroid fell into this trap and discuss how innovation and strategic foresight could have saved them. Let's start with Sears. This company revolutionized retail with its catalog system and was a household name for decades. Yet as e-commerce emerged, Sears failed to evolve. They were slow to adopt online platforms, they underinvested in technology, and struggled to use their physical stores effectively in the digital era. Their leadership focused on short-term cost cutting, which lacked the vision to guide the company to the future. Sears' decline can be traced to several key issues. First, their outdated technology systems couldn't support the demands of modern e-commerce. Second, their physical assets, such as stores and warehouses, were underutilized for efficient online order fulfillment. And third, leadership missteps, like the ill-fated merger with Kmart, further weakened the company's position. Instead of innovating, they focused on cost cutting, which ultimately wasn't enough to keep them competitive. One of Sears' biggest missed opportunities was its failure to modernize its extensive catalog network. For decades, Sears operated small catalog stores in rural areas where customers could browse catalogs, place orders, and pick up their purchases. Sears had 3,500 catalog stores in towns with populations of less than 10,000 residents. This innovative system was an early example of a hybrid retail model that combined convenience with accessibility, essential as a precursor to modern e-commerce. However, Sears did not evolve this model into a full-fledged omni-channel strategy to compete. Adding to the irony, Sears had also been a pioneer in online innovation. In 1984, Sears partnered with IBM to create Prodigy, an early online service that offered email, news, and shopping. But they abandoned Prodigy in 1988, failing to recognize its potential. The combination of underutilized assets and missed technological opportunities ultimately sealed their fate in this changing landscape. Ironically, though, AOL launched in 1899, and it succumbed to Google in 2004. What if Sears and IBM had pushed forward? They were actually ahead of the curve at that time. The consequences of Sears' mismanagement were quite severe. The company experienced a slow spiral of decline, starting with selling off many of its key assets and divesting of profitable brands like Craftsman, Kenmore, and Land's End, brands that had once been pillars of their success. These decisions generated short-term cash flow, but eroded the long-term value and identity of the company. Leadership played a pivotal role in this decline. Instead of reinvesting in innovation or restructuring for future growth, they focused on cost cutting. This approach decimated the company's ability to compete in this evolving retail market. Sears' failure to adapt to new consumer behaviors and technological advancements led to a dramatic loss of market share, widespread store closures, and a tarnished brand reputation. Ultimately, Sears serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of leveraging existing assets, embracing change, and investing in visionary leadership to navigate disruption effectively. We'll now turn to Blockbuster. Blockbuster's decline is the most iconic example of a missed opportunity in business. At its peak, Blockbuster dominated the video rental market, with over 9,000 stores worldwide. However, they failed to adapt to the rise of digital streaming, a transformation that would forever change how consumers accessed entertainment. The pivotal moment came in 2000 when Netflix co-founder Reed Hastings approached Blockbuster with an offer to sell Netflix for $50 million. The proposal wasn't just a sale. It included a plan for Netflix to manage Blockbuster's online presence and help them transition into digital streaming. Blockbuster would retain its focus on brick and mortar rentals, while Netflix would become their digital arm. Blockbuster's leadership dismissed the idea, actually laughing at Reed Hastings, believing the rental model and late fee-driven revenue were untouchable. They failed to recognize the growing consumer demand for convenience and digital access to content. Netflix, meanwhile, pivoted toward streaming and quickly gained market dominance. The short-sighted decision by Blockbuster, rooted in arrogance and complacency, sealed their fate as they failed to innovate in time. Blockbuster's refusal to partner with Netflix wasn't just a missed opportunity. It was emblematic of deeper issues within their strategy and culture. Their leadership dismissed Netflix as a niche player, underestimating both the demand for digital convenience and the speed of technological change. This arrogance, coupled with complacency, led them to stick with a business model heavily reliant on late fees, a practice that was increasingly alienated customers. When Blockbusters finally attempted to enter the online retail and streaming market, they were years behind Netflix, which had already established itself as a leader in the space. Their delayed reaction left them unable to compete effectively, and the damage was irreversible. The result? Netflix dominated the market, while Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy in 2010. The key lesson here is humility. Companies must be willing to see the potential in emerging trends and competitors, rather than assuming their current model will always be successful. When we look at Polaroid's decline, we see that it was driven by the reluctance to embrace digital photography. Despite being an innovator in instant photography, at the core of their hesitation was this significant investment in manufacturing equipment for instant film. Polaroid had built a business model and massive infrastructure centered on producing and selling film, making the transition to digital technology a costly and complex prospect. Rather than risking their existing revenue streams and sunk cost investments, they chose to focus on their traditional instant film products, believing the market for digital technology would remain niche. This reluctance to adapt left them unprepared for the rapid adoption of digital cameras and image sharing technology, which eventually led to their downfall. Polaroid's failure highlights the dangers of complacency and an inability to adapt to disruptive technologies. Their corporate culture resisted change, delaying necessary investments in digital technology. Meanwhile, we saw competitors like Canon, Nikon and Sony, already leaders in traditional cameras, move aggressively into digital photography, thus capturing a significant market share. At the same time, upstarts like Olympus and Fujifilm began carving out niches with compact, affordable digital cameras. These companies embraced the digital wave early, offering innovative products that appealed to a new generation of consumers. Polaroid's reluctance to innovate, driven by their dependence on instant fill, left them unable to compete in this rapidly changing landscape. As a result, they lost market relevance and fell behind. Polaroid's refusal to adapt to the digital photography revolution ultimately led to bankruptcy in 2001. Their reliance on instant film, a technology they pioneered, became a liability as digital cameras and later smartphones transformed how people captured and shared memories. Despite holding patents for early digital photography technologies, Polaroid failed to commercialize these innovations effectively, allowing competitors to dominate the market. The bankruptcy marked the end of Polaroid as a major player in the photography industry, forcing the company to sell off its brand and assets. The iconic Polaroid name lives on today, but only through licensing deals, a shadow of its former innovative self. This case underscores the critical importance of agility and a willingness to embrace change, even for industry pioneers. Clinging to legacy products or business models can lead to irrelevance. When we compare these three companies, Sears, Blockbuster, and Polaroid, common themes emerge that illustrate how even industry leaders can falter. They consistently underestimated the transformative impact of technology, failing to see how advancements like e-commerce, digital streaming, and digital photography would redefine their industries. This lack of foresight left them struggling to align their strategies with changing consumer behaviors and market trends. Moreover, all three companies resisted change, often clinging to legacy models and outdated infrastructures instead of embracing innovation. Their corporate cultures often prioritized short-term cost cutting over long-term investment in growth and adaptability. Poor leadership compounded these issues, with decision makers either dismissing emerging competitors or doubling down on strategies that were clearly losing relevance. Today, these factors created a perfect storm of decline, showing how complacency, rigidity, and a lack of vision can turn once dominant companies into cautionary tales. These failures also highlight a critical lesson in today's fast-paced world. Companies must be proactive, not reactive, to avoid falling behind. So what lessons can we learn from these failures? The failures of Sears, Blockbuster, and Polaroid. First, businesses must actively recognize and adapt to technological advancements. Staying informed about emerging trends and proactively investing in innovation is no longer optional. It's essential for survival in today's fast evolving market. Second, aligning strategies with trends is crucial for staying relevant. This means not just following market shifts, but anticipating them. Companies need to embrace agile approaches to pivot quickly and capitalize on new opportunities before competitors do. Third, fostering a culture of innovation is key to overcoming internal resistance to change. Organizations should encourage experimentation, reward creative thinking, and empower employees to challenge the status quo. This kind of culture shifts can help break the cycle of complacency. If we look at Google's 20% rule, this allows employees to work on innovation. These are non-core projects that align with the employee's interests and can lead to new ideas or products. Google's 20% rule has resulted in Gmail, Google Earth, Google Translate, Waymo, the self-driving car, and other technological advancements that we attribute to Google. A fourth lesson could also be the importance of customer-centric thinking. All three companies lost touch with changing consumer preferences. Whether it was the demand for convenience, digital access, or new technologies, companies that consistently listen and evolve with their customers will always have a competitive edge. Finally, visionary leadership is essential for navigating a shifting landscape. Leaders must balance short-term objectives with long-term goals, inspire confidence in transformative change, and guide their team through periods of uncertainty with clarity and decisiveness. So let's pause and imagine what if. What if these companies had made different decisions? What if Sears had embraced e-commerce early and fully leveraged their vast network of catalog stores to create a seamless omni-channel shopping experience? They could have been a pioneer in online retail and possibly have been the rival that Amazon is today. What if Blockbuster had acquired Netflix and used its vast resources to develop a robust streaming platform early on? But by combining Netflix's innovative digital model with Blockbuster's established brand and customer base, they might have dominated the digital entertainment market instead of fading into obscurity. And what if Polaroid had invested in digital photography and used their iconic brand to lead the digital revolution? They could have introduced cutting-edge digital products while capitalizing on their nostalgia-driven instant camera appeal, creating a unique hybrid market. These alternate scenarios show how a willingness to innovate and take risks could have rewritten their stories. They also highlight the power of adaptability, strategic foresight, and bold decision-making in shaping not just the future of a company, but entire industries. Imagine the ripple effect: new jobs, competitive markets, and entirely different consumer experiences. In conclusion, the downfall of Sears, Blockbuster, and Polaroid serve as a powerful reminder of the importance of innovation, strategic foresight, and adaptability. These companies were not brought down overnight, but by a series of missed opportunities, resistance to change, and failure to anticipate the future. As we reflect on their stories, the key takeaway is clear. No company, regardless of its past success, is immune to disruption. To thrive in today's rapidly evolving world, businesses must cultivate a culture of continuous learning, remain focused on the customer, and embrace the mindset of constant reinnovation. These lessons are not just relevant for large corporations, but for leaders, for teams, and for individuals navigating their own challenges in a dynamic environment. By understanding and internalizing these failures, we can all make better decisions to ensure long-term success and resilience. Thank you for attending this presentation and for your attention. Please watch for my upcoming research on the Starling organization model, an adaptive, innovative model that is premised on identifying and capitalizing on what can be. Thank you.